Welcome to Rex Factor!
This week, Harald Hardrada, Biography. With your hosts, Graham Duke and Ali Hood.
Hello.
Hello.
And welcome to Rex Factor, reviewing all the nearly monarchs of England and the United Kingdom from Ethelwald to Albert Victor. These are the people who could or should have become monarch, but for the intervention of fate.
When did you decide on that opening monologue? Because you had to sort of run in and before you got used to it, and this time because the structure's so set, you must have known.
After a whole extra different one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever I think about it in advance, I still think about the last series.
Yeah.
And saying that.
Oh, I'm glad the roles are this way around.
Well, what are we doing? I've got no idea.
That's literally the hurdle it would fall at. That's it.
Now, if you'd like some more information about the podcast, go to rexfactorpodcast.com to find links to all our social media sites and our email address, and you can sign up to join the Privy Council and get more bonus content from us, including an ad-free version of this main podcast and over 450 bonus episodes at patreon.com/rexfactor. And you can now watch the podcast on Spotify or YouTube.
Do you pay for stuff like this?
Well, no, as a creator, I kind of get it all for free, really. I mean, if anything, it really doesn't even go on if I don't do it. So. Other podcasts. I feel like I should, because there are ones that I do listen to and feel like, I really should be giving more.
I pay for We Have Ways, but not to get rid of the adverts, because you can just skip those.
Yeah, no, it's for extra
stuff.
bits and to show support.
Yeah. But we've got loads of extra bits, haven't we? Discord. I mean, is that for these guys?
Well, if you sign up on Patreon, then it's it is.
That's the real potato.
That's how you do a sell. Hang on. Do these guys get that thing? Because otherwise, I'm not going to even mention it.
The special place. There is actually a special place within the special place.
Now, as you'll have heard at the start, this week we are covering Harald Hardrada, legendary Viking king and warrior, often described as the last Viking, and he could have the events of 1066 played out differently, being King of England as well.
If you're a film producer and someone slips a script that says the last Viking under your nose,
straight in,
you just write the check.
Yeah.
Right? So how does the movie play out?
Well, I mean, that is going to very much play out for us in the sense that there's so much on him. He's easily the biggest name that we've done in the series so far.
Yeah.
Immediately, I think most people have heard of Harald Hardrada, even though you don't necessarily know a lot about him. So we're going to do 2 episodes on Harald. He's our first double header of the series. So today we're going to do a full episode just on his biography and his life story, which is pretty epic.
Yeah.
And then next time we will review him.
It's just a shame. I mean, Last Viking, I think I've worked out why the producers haven't picked it up. The Last Viking, wicked. What's his name? Hardrada. Yes. His first name? Harold. What? Couldn't he be called Hairy Hardrada or something?
I don't know if that's better. It makes him sound kind of like a little cartoon character.
Yeah, Harry's the hardest name I could come up with in the short time.
I mean, I thought fluffy at first, but no, that doesn't work. And you want to keep the alliteration, so...
Yeah, I was definitely working with the alliteration. I think that is important. So it's got to write in, I suppose, if we've got a hard name beginning with H.
Byzantium.
Harald Hardrada was born in about 1015 in Ringerike, Norway, the son of Sigurd Sur, a petty king in the uplands, and Åsta Gudbrandsdatter, whose son Olaf, by previous marriage, so Harold's half-brother, became...
Harold's half-brother?
Harold's half-brother. Let's not bring Arthur Canute into this, or we'll get all sorts of confusion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, her son Olaf, by previous marriage, becomes King of Norway pretty much at the time that Harald is born.
Oh.
So he's half-brother of the King of Norway.
Is that where he gets the name from? Is it actually half-brother?
Oh, no, it's not Hardrada, no. So Hardrada is a sobriquet, so it's not a sort of family name or anything. But it probably means hard ruler.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. When is it?
Which, as we will see, does pretty much fit with his character and his approach to life. And indeed, we do actually have quite a lot to go on for Harold's character and his life, because we have court poets extolling his great deeds. He himself writes poems also celebrating his great deeds.
Oh dear.
And he's featured in various Viking sagas, including being the subject of his own saga within the larger Heimskringla, which is this great...
what?
Heimskringla.
That is a brilliant name.
Which is a great historical work by the Icelandic writer Snorri Sturluson. So like all sagas, they can be a bit exaggerated in the telling, but at the same time are important historical sources for us.
Are they like caricatures are to a photograph? Like they're based on a real image and they would be recognisable as something that happened, but there's also lots more giant squids. Yeah,
or indeed simply like this is the Hollywood, this is the book of the film rather than the strict, book. You see what I mean?
Right, okay.
This is the book after they've done all the embellishments and making it a bit more dramatic and having some action scenes.
With the film star on the front cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got it.
The proper book.
The proper book, yeah.
So this is how Snorri describes Harald. A handsome man of distinguished bearing. He was fair-haired, with a fair beard and long moustaches. One of his eyebrows was slightly higher than the other.
Brilliant.
He had long, well-shaped hands and feet. He was 5 ells tall.
This is the most accurate description we've had of anyone yet. But unfortunately, what on earth is an L?
Well, basically, without going into measurement details, that would have made him about 7 foot 4 inches tall.
Big lad, then.
Yeah, so unlikely that he is that tall, but other sources, not just saga ones, other sources do all state that he is exceptionally tall. So even if he's not quite that tall, we assume a big, intimidating chap.
I ran ahead of the family this weekend and went and waded into the river so I could stand next to this sign that had clearly been cut too low. So it started at 2 feet. So when I stood next to it, I looked like I was 8 feet tall.
Harold first appears on the scene in 1030 when he was just 15 years old.
Oh, yeah.
So Canute, so that's the Canute, the one that rules England and Denmark, etc., he had forced Harold's half-brother Olaf into exile in 1028, so Canute has conquered Norway.
Right.
So Olaf is going to try and get it back in 1030, and despite suggesting to Harold that at 15 he's maybe a bit young to fight, Harold insisted.
Henry II?
I shall certainly take part in the battle, and if I'm too weak to grip the sword, I know what to do. I shall tie my hand to the hilt. There is no one more eager than I to cause trouble for these farmers. I intend to be with my men.
Oh gosh, how have they brought those children up like absolute psychopaths?
Well, we'll in the Privy Chamber we'll have a bit more on this, but there is an anecdote about him and his other brothers, and that the other brothers are kind of quite gentle farm-minded people, whereas Harold is always very much, this is where I will build my army. It's just in his...
it's just a bit of fun.
Yeah.
It's just a bit of fun.
Now, unfortunately, it's not all that fun, because Olaf suffers a terrible defeat in the ensuing Battle of Stiklestad and is killed.
Oh.
And Harold, though wounded, manages to escape across the mountains to Sweden.
Thinking, oh man, my big mouth.
And then he heads on into exile to the court of Yaroslav the Wise and Kievan Rus.
Oh.
Which we may recall from a previous episode, Edward the Exile is probably where he ends up as well. So as we said, this is where people in the sort of Scandinavian basin find themselves exiled from Canute.
There's a comparable in real life these days. I can't quite put my finger on it. Is it like you've fallen out of you can't make it in the UK, so you go and try and crack America, or something like that?
Yeah,
like a rival court or something.
Yeah. A rival court, but also one that is sort of operating separately. It's connected, but also operating in its own kind of rules. It is sort of disconnected at the same time.
Yeah.
But you could easily build up strength there and then come back to the real world.
I sort of why I don't understand how I'm so familiar with that concept yet. Can't think of
a single example, but
yeah.
Indeed, Harold's brother Olaf had been an exile there after he'd first lost the throne in 1028, so very much a familiar environment for the Vikings to be going into. So Harold seems to have been given a very grand welcome at Yaroslav's court, and reportedly becomes head of Yaroslav's bodyguard and takes part in various military campaigns over the next few years.
Wow.
However, after a few years of doing that, he decides to go his own way, and he takes around 500 men to Constantinople to join the Varangian Guard of the Byzantine Empire.
I mean, you'd think you were taking liberties doing this film, wouldn't you? All right, so now we've got a Viking in what looks to all intents and purposes like Rome. I mean,
so the Varangian Guard is an elite unit of the Byzantine army, established in the late 10th century as a sort of imperial bodyguard.
Yeah.
When the emperor couldn't really trust the native Byzantine soldiers, so he wanted an external source. And they are primarily made up initially of soldiers from Rus, but also then predominantly Scandinavia, i.e. Vikings.
brilliant.
Harold presents himself to the new emperor, Michael IV, who'd been installed as emperor by his lover, the Empress Zoe. And Harold apparently requests that he be able to maintain his men as a separate company. So he can be a commander, he can lead them, but he'll just put the badge on.
Oh, okay.
Sort of a bit like Sharp.
Yeah.
Follow orders, but essentially this is my troop and we just do our own thing.
That's a good agreement to come to, isn't it? All of the official stuff, but none of the responsibility.
So he's immediately put to work in the Byzantine fleet, so he's responsible for clearing Arabian pirates out of the East Mediterranean.
It's gone, it's Navy now, yeah.
Good, again, makes sense. Vikings, obviously a lot of sea experience, so it's a natural fit. So he clears the Mediterranean of pirates and then transfers to a land campaign to pursue them and their supporters in Asia Minor.
I mean, it's a long way from a bodyguard role, isn't it?
It starts as a bodyguard and then really it just develops into a useful mercenary force.
Yeah, like Flash.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Now, these adventures all have made Harold very rich because he got to keep some of the captured booty. Also, of course, raises his standing at the imperial court. So in about 1036, Harold and his men went to Jerusalem. Now, Snorri Sturluson suggests that he conquered the city, noting that wherever he went in Palestine, all the towns and castles were surrendered to him.
Is that more like when the Beatles went to America? Like they conquered America?
Well, yeah, that sort of thing. It's not completely ahistorical, but he definitely doesn't conquer Jerusalem.
Yeah.
Probably he goes to Jerusalem, but it's more likely that he's part of a royal escort for pilgrims, because there's been a recent deal to kind of reopen the city and also to rebuild the Church of Holy Sepulchre.
Yeah, because this is pre-Crusade, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So he's there escorting, perhaps even someone like Empress Zoe, but probably people either from high nobility or the royal family in Constantinople. But it's still, as a pilgrimage route, he'll be beset by bandits and robbers, so there are accounts of him slaying robbers along the way, and that probably is true.
I mean, you got that's mad, isn't it? When you can't grow an economy when your trade routes are closed.
But if you've got a Viking with you...
Yeah, that's what we need then.
But thus, all of the towns and castles being open to him, it's like, well, yes, because they were like, oh yeah, hi, come in.
God, imagine seeing a Viking come running at you and you're someone who's desperate in Asia Minor to do robbery, and suddenly you have this sort of Norse Viking running at you. Horrid.
Now, back into full military action, he participates in a campaign to reconquer Sicily from Arabian forces, captures several towns along the way, and then his last commission is in 1041 to fight in an army led by Emperor Michael IV himself to put down a rebellion in Bulgaria, after which Harold receives various honours from the emperor. But unfortunately, the emperor dies at the end of the year, and then for unknown reasons, Harold falls out of favour with the new emperor, Michael V.
His son?
Nephew.
Right.
And he ends up being imprisoned.
Okay.
However, there's a revolt against Michael V's rule, because he's generally very unpopular. Quickly turns out into a full-out revolution, and there's a battle outside the palace, around 3,000 people killed. Michael flees to take holy orders in a monastery, just in a bid to stay alive. Harold is then released from jail, rejoins the Varangian Guard, and leads them in support of the forces against Michael. So they drag the emperor out of the monastery and have him blinded.
It's going back a bit, but I don't remember that at all from university.
This being because, without wanting to, set you up for a fall, this is an area in which you have a certain amount of familiarity.
It's pre-Crusade, so
backgroundy stuff.
Yeah, well, I don't know. So what? The other fella's dead though. He hasn't got the previous Michael is dead. He can't put him
No,
back
so
on.
he's not to put him back. It's really just to overthrow this one. So I think I think technically that the Empress Zoe is actually the one who's kind of got the claim.
Yeah, I
and
remember
then
her name.
whoever she marries, and there are quite a few people that she marries, is the person that ends up being the Emperor
Okay.
with her.
Okay, so actually they're not really blinding the Emperor. They're not blinding the true power. All right, what becomes of him?
Well, so he's overthrown. There'll be a new person coming in, but Harold is now basically decided that he's done with Byzantium, probably done with the internal politics, but also more pressing from his perspective is the fact that with the death of, Canute, but then Canute's son, Harthler Canute, so he does get a mention, Canute's empire has now fallen. So all those different bits of England, Denmark, Norway, bits of Sweden that were all ruled by one person is now separated again. And Harold's young nephew, Magnus, has become first King of Norway in 1035, but now, with the death of Harthler Canute, King of Denmark as well. And Harold thinks that he himself probably is more deserving of those kingdoms than his nephew, so he wants to go home and just be king.
It feels a bit like a tax exile, though, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He feels like he deserves it. Why? He's
Well, he's older than Magnus, and he was half-brother to Olaf. So he maybe feels like, well, if once the exile was done, once Canute was done, surely...
And it's just a power thing, isn't it? If I turn up and win, then just I've won.
And also basically it's like, well, my teenage nephew has just sort of, in absence of anybody else, become the king, whilst I'm like dealing with pirates and I'm...
Yeah. And I am in absence, but I'm no longer.
Unfortunately, though, Empress Zoe and her new husband, Constantine, deny him permission to leave.
Oh.
They won't let him go. Obviously, that sort of thing isn't really any kind of impediment for somebody like Harold.
Yeah.
So he just takes 2 ships and they make their way across the Bosphorus Strait, albeit having to manoeuvre his way over the great iron chain that they put in place to stop. But nevertheless, he's able to get over it and sails back across the Black Sea.
Wow. How did he get over the chain?
We'll do that in Battliness.
Okay.
Quite a cool moment.
Right. How is this? I think there could be Rex Factor bingo with every single episode, and the cheapest tile on the board will be, how is this not a film?
Oh, I know.
Unbelievable.
You've even got the title.
Yeah. Yeah. You could do a whole bit. You could even keep it. It's a 3-parter. You got your first bit, the early days battles, lovely. Keep it all very pure and Viking, so it sets him up as the Viking. Second one, Empire Strikes Back. You got your Byzantine adventure. Third one, well, we all know what happens.
I mean, we're actually technically on the second one.
Are we?
Norway.
So before heading to Norway, he actually goes first back to Kiev.
Oh.
And Yaroslav. So apparently Harold had been sending all of his treasure and booty back to Yaroslav.
To keep it safe for him?
Yeah, I don't know whether Yaroslav took a cut of it as a kind of patron, but essentially he's using him as a bank. Safe and trusted authority who will keep the treasure safe.
Okay.
But also it might have been connected to the fact that apparently Harold wanted to marry Yaroslav's daughter Elisive.
Okay.
Which is sort of Elizabeth, if we were to westernise that. And indeed, poems that he composes on the way back from Byzantium suggest he's previously sought her hand, but been turned down because he hadn't had enough life experience and standing. But now, glories and riches abounding, he can press his suit more successfully, and they are married in 1044.
Yaroslav's daughter?
So he's got a Kievan princess as his bride. And Snorri gives us good sense of Harold's priorities in the marriage. The warlike King of Norway won the match of his desire. He gained a king's daughter, and a hoard of gold as well.
Hey! Is there any idea that he might be the King of Kiev ever?
No, I don't think that's on his list.
Okay.
But he's got a list. Now, he's not yet, of course, King of Norway, despite what Snorri says there. So in 1045, with wife, treasure and soldiers in tow, he sets off, not for Norway, but for Sweden.
Okay.
Because if he's going to have a campaign to conquer Norway, he needs some allies, and he finds one in Sven Estridsson. Now, this is a nephew of Canute, and he is in exile after failing to take Denmark from Magnus. So we've got Sven who wants Norway, and Harold who wants Norway, Sven who wants Denmark. Let's
What's
buddy
left?
up and get rid of Magnus.
And Magnus keeps nothing.
Well, yeah, in the ideal world. So Harold and Sven make an alliance against Magnus, swore pledges of friendship, and embarked on a campaign against Denmark, plundering Zealand and Finn Island. However, Magnus then offers Harold a share of Norway in which they would both be king. So they'll be co-rulers, albeit with Magnus having seniority whenever they're together.
Right.
Now this puts Harold in something of a bind, because obviously he's sworn an oath to ally with Sven.
Yeah.
But such niceties don't really apply to Harold, so he just ditches Sven and accepts Magnus' offer to become co-king of Norway in 1046.
And then kill Magnus, presumably?
Well, that's the thing. Can co-rule really work? So they don't divide the kingdom. It's not like an England-Danelaw sort of thing. So they are both king of the whole country.
Oh,
they share the
dear.
economic gains and they have the same royal titles. It's quite a big sacrifice on Magnus's part, but war would be dangerous and expensive, and he's quite lacking in money, whilst Harold is, of course, mega rich from his time in Byzantium and shares his treasures with Magnus.
Right.
Which all sounds very cordial.
Yeah.
In reality, though, they very much keep separate courts.
Yeah.
And whenever they do come together, there are tensions over precedence and all this sort of thing.
Yeah. He's going to be... He would find that unbearable, would our Harold.
Well, if anything, it seems to be the other way, that Magnus is the one who's feeling like he has to... Which perhaps you can also see as well, that Harold is being a little bit flexible and a bit relaxed about precedence, i.e. he doesn't always show it.
Yeah.
And Magnus is very up on it because he knows that Harold's the...
That's the only thing he's got.
Yeah.
And for Magnus, it feels like... For Harold, it's part of a plan on the way up. Magnus, either he sorts that out or it's a plan for the way down.
Exactly. So there's one example where Magnus brings his ships into a royal berth and finds that Harold's already moored his ships there. So Magnus has his men arm themselves until Harold orders his men to move the ships to avoid a conflict. Because obviously Magnus feels he should have precedence as the senior king, whereas Harold thinks, well, this only applies if we arrive together and you weren't here, so parked it there.
Oh, it's ripe for lethal hair splitting, isn't it?
Harold rather patronisingly told Magnus that he would dismiss Magnus's outburst as no more than a mark of youth.
Oh God, they're baiting each other.
But it's an ominous start.
It's a what start?
An ominous start.
Yeah.
Conveniently, however, it's not a long-term problem because the following year in 1047, Magnus dies.
Of death by illness, sword to the neck illness.
Well, it does seem a tad suspicious, but even hostile sources for Harold don't suggest that he murders him. So the suggestion seems to be that Magnus does just die.
I thought he was about 15.
Oh yeah, he is younger than Harold. I think he's a bit older than that, but no, he is younger. But some people suggest that he fell off his ship and drowned. Others that he's taken ill on board ship. Another one that he fell off a horse. So it's not necessarily naval, unless the horse was on the ship. But regardless, Harold is now sole king of Norway.
Okay.
He doesn't have to worry about Magnus.
It's got to be a step down from Sicily.
Well, he wasn't king of Sicily. Oh, you just mean the weather and
but
general living.
I don't own the flat that I'm going to rent in Spain, but it feels nicer than home, doesn't it?
But he's a Viking. He's used to cold.
Yeah. It's got too much of a sort of shaggy coat.
So Harold is now king of Norway, but not Denmark.
Yeah.
Which Magnus, when he dies, leaves to Sven rather than Harold.
Yeah.
Now, of course, Harold feels like this is his due as well, so immediately starts gathering his forces and announces that he will travel to the Viborg Assembly to declare himself king of Norway and Denmark before immediately heading off on a campaign to make that claim good.
Didn't he ever deal with this fella?
Yeah, but he ditched him before to become co-king of Norway.
Yeah. All right.
Now, unfortunately, not everyone is so keen on the idea, and indeed several leading nobles still feel quite a certain amount of loyalty to the memory of Magnus and retain a suspicion of Harold. Chief among these is the magnificently named Einar Paunch Shaker.
Ooh. Sounds like a Victorian bicycle.
He does. I think it just means he's got a big tummy. And he tells Harold there's a more pressing need to bury Magnus's body before they go off and invade Denmark.
I'm not sure he's going to have anything to do with that, is he?
Well, no, but I guess what they're saying is we kind of need to have quite a big deal of a royal funeral to bury the king.
Right.
I think Harald really is literally let's go now. As soon as he finds out Magnus is dead, he's like, great, now Denmark.
Yeah, no time like the present.
So Einar tells Harald, better to follow King Magnus dead than any other king alive.
What?
Well, I'd rather follow Magnus's body than you living.
Really?
That's my priority. That's my first loyalty, is to the body of the dead king than to whatever else.
Oh dear, burn.
Now, reluctantly, Harald is forced to abandon his campaign and go with them. So, fine, we'll bury him first.
Yeah, we're talking a couple of days, right?
He doesn't give up on Denmark, though. So the following year, 1048 until 1064, he undertakes pretty much annual campaigns against Sven in Denmark. But he would also need to assert himself over his opponents within Norway, people like Einar. So it's in this period that he acquires his sobriquet of Hardrada.
Right.
So he demands total adherence to his authority and adopts a brutal response to anyone who fails to comply. Einar is the most threatening, having a strong following in northern Norway, so he speaks against some of Harald's orders in public assemblies, even raises a large force around himself whenever Harald is in town.
Yeah, I mean, sensible.
Well, yes. Eventually, of course, Harald takes matters into his own hands, arranges for them to meet in person and discuss their differences, but instead obviously just has Einar and his son murdered as soon as they enter his hall.
Yeah, that's so well worn. That's so... Well, it's so naive of Einar.
Yeah, I don't know why everybody is so cross. What did you expect?
I might as well have put that on the invitation, frankly.
Yes, I'm going to kill you.
Oh, Harold, this is funny. Look, it's Louis done there. I even told him.
Now, one of Harold's men, Finn Arneson, is infuriated by the hornet's nest of murdering Einar stirs up in that part of the country, so he despairs to Harald. What a hopeless scoundrel you are. You do one evil thing after another, and then you are so frightened that you don't know what to do with yourself.
Sounds like Trump.
Harald seems to have been amused by this, which wasn't the intention, so laughs and then charges Finn with going and finding a peaceful resolution to another ongoing dispute of somebody who's annoyed, a chap called Harkon Iverson.
Right.
So Finn convinces Harkon to come to terms with Harald. Harkon's only condition is that he wants a marriage to the daughter of King Magnus.
Okay.
And a nice dowry. Harald agrees, but says only if she accepts. And when she doesn't, because Harkon isn't an earl and thus it's beneath her, and Harald asks if he can become an earl, Harald says no.
Oh.
So that infuriates Finn and Harkon again, who think that he did that on purpose. So they storm off to join Sven.
Yeah, obviously.
However, Harald can be forgiving, so when Harkon does return, he does then promote him, and Harkon gets his marriage.
It is Trumpian, isn't it? They're just complete... You have to complete one-way traffic.
And, although highly autocratic, Harald also shows great loyalty and generosity to those who do follow him, without question. Outside of certain personal disagreements, Norway is largely prosperous and stable in this time, so Harald is able to pursue his prime objective, which is conquering Denmark. So, as I said, from 1048, it's pretty much annual attacks on Denmark, mostly quick coastal raids rather than full-on campaigns of conquest. Some years are more intense than others, though. So in 1048, he plunders Jutland for the entire summer, but was unable to establish a permanent foothold. In 1049, he agreed with Sven to fight a proper battle at Gotha River.
That's so weird, isn't it? Like a football match.
Except that Sven doesn't show up, so Harald sends basically half of his troops home, and then the rest, they just go plundering.
Oh, Sven should have attacked him then.
Well, on his way back, Harold's way back, Sven does intercept him with the full army.
Yeah, clever Sven.
So Harald is forced to abandon all of his booty and provisions so that they can escape back to Norway.
Yeah, all's fair in love and war, my loves.
1051, Harald makes peace with Finn's brother Karl Arneson, who'd been avoiding Harald's wrath, because he's one of the people that killed Olaf right at the start.
Okay.
So Harald has him lead an assault on the island of Funen in another campaign against Denmark. Harald was going to follow close behind in support, but it seems that he just deliberately waited until Karl was exposed and killed by the Danes, and then he arrived to mop things up.
Yeah, Well, he's learnt from Sven a bit.
This is a final straw for Finn, having persuaded his brother. No, it's definitely okay. It's definitely all right. So he now goes off and allies with Sven.
God, Finn has been loyal above and beyond. He's been tested.
He is. The annual campaigns continue, but 1062 is when it all really comes to a head, where we have the Battle of Nyssa.
Right.
So in very similar circumstances to 1049, again, Harold gives Sven a time and a place to do battle, sends half his men home, and Sven is a no-show, and then up turns Sven with his whole army.
Eek, yeah.
This time, however, Harold stands his ground, so to speak, because he's on a boat.
Oh, right, yeah.
And we have an epic naval battle. Lasts for most of the day, and because it starts late in the afternoon and goes on into the night, so they're fighting in the darkness on the ships. But Harold and his men win an overwhelming victory over the Danes.
God.
But not a knockout blow, because Sven Estridsson is able to escape.
What about the other fella, Sven? He didn't turn up?
No, as I was saying, Sven Estridsson is able to escape, because he's the other.
Oh,
that's who we're fighting against.
Sorry, I thought we were talking about Finn.
Ah, well, no, Harold does capture poor old Finn.
Right.
Teases him for a while, and then just sends him back.
Really?
Yeah.
So you silly sausage and off you go?
Back to Sven, back to Denmark.
Because I think he wants another go, doesn't he?
Yeah. I think it's like a cat. He just quite enjoys playing with this particular mouse. It's like, no, go on, no, I don't want to. Not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Have another, go and hit me, go and do it again. What a weird chap.
However, war, of course, is expensive. So in 1064, Harold finally gives up on Denmark and seeks peace.
Well, he never... Really? Okay, so maybe where has he got? Holland, not Holland.
Norway.
Norway. Was it always his prize?
Yeah, he always had Norway, and he just wanted a bit extra.
Well, maybe he just was using that bit to ensure that Norway itself was fine.
So they agree that they will each retain their respective kingdoms with former borders, no repayments of reparations on either side, just simple, should we just stop? Yeah.
God. So I feel like I've actually just grown up over the last 5-10 years. Yeah. Oh my God.
But also, perhaps Harold might have had his eye on another kingdom.
Yes.
So, just a quick message to say that Rex Factor are going to be doing a live show at the Ludlow Assembly Rooms on Friday the 21st of August at 7:00 p.m. We're going to be looking at the 4 main contenders for the throne in 1066, Harold Godwinson, William the Conqueror, Harald Hardrada and Edgar the Atheling, and we're going to ask the audience who comes to the show to decide who should have become the king. We've had lots of fun. We've been to Ludlow in previous years, and we've really loved getting the chance to meet Rex Factor fans in person. So if you are able to, then please do come along to join us on Friday, 21st of August at the Ludlow Assembly Rooms. You can get tickets directly from the Ludlow Assembly Rooms website, or we will have a link to it on our website, rexfactorpodcast.com. Hopefully, we'll get to see you there.
England.
Now, of all the claimants to the throne in 1066, Harold's is probably, it's fair to say, the most tenuous.
Well, the primary school version is that it's just another Viking coming in. It's not even a claim, as far as I know.
Well, no, he does have a claim, and he does consider it a valid claim. So it dates from an agreement made between Harold's nephew, King Magnus of Norway, and Canute's son, Harthur Canute.
Yeah.
So Harthur Canute was trying to restore Danish control over Norway, whilst Magnus launches a campaign against Denmark. So they're both weirdly sort of trying to capture each other's kingdoms. They both feel that actually this should be part of our empire.
Yeah.
In the end, they agree to a peace. And the peace is that whichever of them dies first will inherit the other's kingdom.
Yeah.
Which we've seen quite a few times, like Canute and Edmund Ironside made that over England. Whichever one of us dies first will be king of the whole lot. Now, pretty clearly, this is meant to apply to Denmark and Norway. Those are the two countries that they're fighting over, so clearly that's the deal. And indeed, it's only because of this peace that Harthur Canute was even able to become King of England, because he was previously too busy fighting Magnus to actually make his claim back in England, which is why his half-brother Harald Harefoot became king. However, after Harthur Canute dies in 1042, Magnus chose to interpret the deal as applying to all of their respective kingdoms, and thus England as well.
Wow.
Because he said, well, whichever of us dies first inherits that of the others.
Okay.
England is yours, therefore it's now mine.
Right.
That's what we agreed.
People are going to die for this.
Well, he writes... this is why Harald Hardrada is the last Viking, because the others are starting to get a little bit too rational. Magnus writes a letter to Edward the Confessor, who has become king, informing him of his intention to invade, and says, he will then govern it who wins the victory.
Oh, right, yeah, a bit of chivalry there.
Yeah.
Like, meet me on the battlefield. Okay.
The English just seem to basically ignore him.
Yeah.
And they provide support to Sven Estridsson, who thus fights with Magnus. So Magnus is too busy dealing with Sven in order to do anything about England.
Is there a chance they could have? I mean, the same logic meant that they could have provided support to Harold if he was fighting Magnus.
Yeah, if Harold had come on a bit later. I mean, the difference is that Sven is the nephew of Canute, so they sort of have ties with Sven to a certain extent in a way they don't with Harold and they don't with Magnus. So Sven is logical, and the Godwins are linked to Sven by marriage as well. So there are closer ties. But yeah, in theory, they could have given support to Harold as well. But basically, they'd just keep Magnus busy by backing his enemies in Viking land, and so he never actually...
can claim that nonsense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, there is that claim, and Magnus does formally make that claim. So as far as Harold is concerned, when he becomes King of Norway, that passes to him.
He's inherited that rubbish claim, so it's even less...
Because as far as he's concerned, it was not an agreement between Magnus and Harthacnut, it was an agreement between the King of Norway and the King of Denmark, and he is now the King of Norway, so it's his claim.
Yeah.
Now, he doesn't ever seem to have considered challenging Edward the Confessor for the throne.
Right. Ooh, why?
I guess he maybe recognises there's a slightly spurious element to it.
Right.
But maybe because Edward's king of England when Harold becomes king of Norway, so maybe it's like, well, okay, we'll just sort of accept the status quo for now. But with Edward the Confessor not having any children, with Edward the Exile dying, who was the senior, maybe at that point Harold thinks, well, okay, well, there's not really anyone else worth shouting about who's got a claim. I've got this gentleman's agreement.
Would he have ever met Edward the Exile out in Byzantium?
Yeah, so yes, you almost, not in Byzantium, in
Kyiv.
Kyiv, yes, almost certainly. And we also mentioned how there's this weird possibility, depending on the parentage of Edward the Exile's wife, that they could even have been brothers-in-law.
So maybe he knew that ultimately Edward was going to go, and he only did his claim afterwards.
And it's 1057 when Edward the Exile dies, so that's,
and especially if then he's trying to... Does he ever say anything about being related to Edward the Elder? Because...
No.
I mean, if he was, you would have used that to back up the claim, right?
But nevertheless, as far as he's concerned, if there was anything holding him back, that might have been it. But that's now gone. So he now thinks, well, okay, put Denmark to one side, England. Now, whether or not he would ever have ultimately acted on his claim, we don't quite know. So some have pointed to an expedition supporting a Welsh rebellion in 1058 led by Harold's son as a way of testing the waters.
Right.
And also that follows time-wise, because that's obviously the year after Edward the Exile dies, so kind of again. More likely, though, Harold probably hasn't considered actively pursuing his claim until the arrival at his court in 1066 of Tostig Godwinson.
Oh, yes. He's a naughty boy, isn't he?
Tostig is a younger brother of Harold Godwinson, and he's been exiled. So he was the Earl of Northumbria. They don't like him, kick him out, and Harold backs the rebels rather than his brother. Yeah. So tensions there. Apparently, initially, Tostig is hoping that Harold will make him, i.e. Tostig, King of England.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But Harold says that the Norwegians won't fight for an Englishman.
No, yeah.
So after a little bit of goading at Harold's failure to conquer Denmark, Tostig argued that Harold would find support in England.
Hang on, Tostig goaded Harald Hardrada, saying that he couldn't conquer Denmark.
Yeah.
Well, he's silly.
Well, he makes a bit of to be fair, he makes a rational argument that says, look, there's a reason that you never managed to become King of Denmark and that other people succeeded or other people failed. Basically saying that the people there didn't want you to be king. There was no support for you there. That's why it never happened. if you go to England, nobody loves Harold. I'm better than Harold. People respect you. It's there. So he says, a bit of flattery as well comes in. Everyone knows that there has never been in Scandinavia a warrior to compare with you. And it seems to me very strange that you should spend 15 years trying to conquer Denmark and yet be so reluctant to have England when it is yours for the taking. Mm-hmm. So basically saying, look, nobody likes Harold. He hasn't got a claim. You'd be accepted if people would be happy to see you King of England.
That's not true, though, is it?
Well, I don't know if it's not true in this necessarily in the sense that there's a whole lot of people expecting Harold to come and they really want him. But I guess he's saying, look, the reason you didn't succeed in Denmark is because actually they saw Sven as their king, and why would they want you? People don't see Harold as their rightful king. So there's a open goal, basically. So it's not necessarily that they really want you to come so much as there's no loyalty to the person who is there.
And your claim is as crap as his.
Exactly, yeah. So you might as well. Harold thought over Tostig's words and agreed with his assessment of Anglo-Scandinavian politics and loyalties, and decided that he had a great desire to win this kingdom. Because this will be the pinnacle of his career. This will put him on a par with Canute, Sven Forkbeard, people like that.
He's been sweet talked into. He's so responsive to flattery. He
is, and of course, this is a man who's got his own poets. He writes his own poetry. He is all about history and legacy and legend, etc. It's a big part of the culture for the Vikings that you have these
lasting legacy.
Exactly, that is literally what will be driving him. He's driven by a need for glory, and he thinks, this would be the ultimate. Yeah. So Harold sends word throughout Norway, and by September has raised an enormous fleet. Knowing the danger of the campaign, he has one of his sons proclaimed as king in Norway to make sure that the succession will be smooth in case
he gets it.
He doesn't come back. Harold makes his way across the North Sea. Tostig is already in England, raiding from the Isle of Wight to Sandwich, so the east coast, before going up to Lindsey in Lincolnshire. Plunders the local population, does a bit of press ganging to boost his forces, but then is seen off by the Earls of Mercia and Northumbria, the brothers Edwin and Morcar.
Oh, yeah.
So Tostig and Harold then both converge on Scotland, because Tostig seems to have links to Malcolm III, King of Scots. Harold lands in Shetland and then moves on to Orkney, where he supplements his army further, which includes the Earls of Orkney, Paul and Elrond, who are the sons of Thorfinn the Mighty. Sets off again, leaves his wife and daughters on Orkney, because they've come with him that far, but he leaves them to wait for him to return at Orkney. Not entirely clear if he links up with Harold on the Scottish mainland at Malcolm's court, or if they meet at Tynemouth in the northeast of England.
God, it's a hell of... Just thinking about Orkney in a Viking longship. Goodness gracious. I suppose, would they be safe there? Is that why he left them there?
Yeah. Okay. Because that's still Vikings rule those islands at this point. Right. That's not Scottish for quite a while longer. Okay. So that's very much his territory at that point. Either way, they definitely are together on the northeast coast, whether or not they start there. Harold's thought to have had around 300 longships in his fleet, which would equate to somewhere between 10,000 to 15,000 troops for the invasion.
Wow.
So it's a big force. They pillage Cleveland and receive numerous submissions as they make their way down the coast without any resistance, till they get to Scarborough, where they refuse Harold's call for surrender.
Okay.
After which there's some fierce fighting, Scarborough's overpowered and burnt to the ground, and then all the subsequent towns do surrender at once.
Right, sorry, not funny, but yeah.
Now, they could at this point have marched directly onto York, but Harold, being a Viking, seems that he preferred a boat.
Yeah.
So instead they sail around and land on the banks of the River Ouse and set up camp at Rickle, which is about 10 miles south of York.
Okay.
York being obviously effectively the capital of the north. They want to take in York.
And you can sail upriver to it.
Harold does now march on York, but on the 20th of September he meets serious opposition for the first time at a place called Fulford, which is a couple of miles south of York, and Edwin and Morcar are back and lying in wait with the Northern Army.
In York?
Well, Fulford is a couple of miles away from York, so just outside of York, to stop him getting to York.
Yeah.
English have a strong position, so they're lined up along the top of a ditch, or sort of a bank, and it's flanked on one side by the river and on the other side by a swamp.
Yeah.
So basically the Vikings are going to have to wade across and then up the ditch into a shield wall, and they can't go around the sides.
That's perfect.
It's a great position. Very hard fought battle. The English resist for a long time, but Tostig's troops, who of course are the ones that filled with mercenaries and people that he'd press ganged from the raids, break first, as you might imagine. And when they start to retreat, Morca's men, who are facing them, rush after them in pursuit.
Okay.
And of course this opens up things for Harold, so he immediately, with his battle-hardened troops, and they're not going to break, sweeps around, surrounds Morca. There's a gap on the ditch to get into the shield wall. English troops are separated and surrounded and slaughtered.
Okay.
So, with the Northern Army defeated, York doesn't offer any further resistance, so it opens its gates to Harold. And likewise, Harold has taken heavy losses, and he knows that he's going to need local support in order to fight Harold Godwinson in the south.
Oh, so he's going to have to recruit from York as well.
Exactly. So this is what Sven Forkbeard and Canute did. They, not in York, but they landed sort of further north where there was more support, more Scandinavian population. Build support and recognition there, and then move south, growing their forces.
So he needs to go into York and give out a load of free stuff.
Exactly. So he forbids any plundering or bloodshed in the city, offers generous terms as well. So he receives the submission of York, leaves 150 men in the city as a sort of garrison, takes an equal number of citizens as hostages, and then he arranges that he will receive some more hostages the following day.
Oh, so it's tense.
Well, tense, but equally, you know, it's not a kind of a bloodthirsty massacre of everybody. He's being structured about this. He's got the support. He's basically King of the North at this point, and then he's going to use that to support his campaign south.
Yeah.
So the following day he's going to receive some more hostages. Very, very hot day. So we're in September at this point. So he leaves a third of his men at Rickle with the ships, takes the rest of the army, armed but without armour, to go and receive the hostages. And they're going to do it at a meeting place at a bridge over the River Derwent, a place called Stanford, so the Stone Ford, or Stamford Bridge.
So they were on their way... They were doing some admin. It wasn't like the army was ready and... Okay.
It was a chill day.
Yeah.
Now, Harald Hardrada's invasion seems to have come as a complete surprise to Harold Godwinson, who'd spent the entire summer on the south coast waiting for William, Duke of Normandy, to invade.
Yeah.
And then he'd actually sent the levies home on the 8th of September, which is pretty much the very day that Harold first comes onto the northeast coast.
What do you mean, levies?
Levies are the sort of the temporary army that he's called. Yeah. So it's like, it's your time to serve.
Yeah.
Call you up, and he has them there for the entire summer, sends them home on the very day that Hardrada arrives in the north.
Yeah, to do their harvesting and all that jazz.
Yeah. Back to the farm. So as soon as Godwinson hears of the invasion, he has to regather all of these people, levy them back up again. So he's probably got about 3,000 of his own housecarls, his elite private army. And then he's got the more difficult task of bringing everybody, as he said, bringing everyone back.
How do you do that?
Home. Well, send out a letter.
Yeah.
Just pin up a notice in the town square.
And where do you... it's just the logistics of that just boggle the mind.
Now, it's usually said that Godwinson then undertakes this astonishing 4-day march to York, so sort of 200 miles with an army, which he's kind of growing along the way. Now, very, very recently in the news, Professor Tom Licence has argued that actually the sources have been completely misinterpreted, and he didn't do this. He actually went by boat.
It's Monday today, and literally I read that at the weekend.
Yeah.
Hang on, didn't he come back by boat?
Well, probably both.
Oh.
Now, serendipitously, we had, before that came out in the news, already arranged to do an interview with Tom Licence. So we're going to be speaking to him in a few episodes' time. Primarily, we're going to talk about the succession and what Edward the Confessor's plans are, but obviously we'll also get to talk to him a bit more about this. So either way, whether or not he quick marched or went by boat, Harold got there very quickly and took them completely unawares, Harold Godwinson.
Yeah.
So the first that Hardrada and Tostig knew of Harold Godwinson's approach was when they are there at Stamford Bridge, chilling out, waiting for the prisoner exchange. And then they see in the distance the cloud of dust raised by the horses' hooves, and below it the gleam of handsome shields and white coats of mail. The closer the army came, the greater it grew, and their glittering weapons sparkled like a field of broken ice.
What did they do?
Well, realising, obviously, it must be Godwinson, Tostig suggests returning to Rickle, get the rest of the men, get the armour.
Yeah, it's the first sensible thing you've said all day, Tox.
So essentially, should we... I'm not saying run away, but not stay here. No, that sounds, but it's not.
There is a difference. Let's go.
Harold obviously doesn't see a difference, so he is determined to fight. So instead, he sends 3 men on the fastest horses he's got back to Rickle, tell the others, come quick as you can.
Bring our clothes.
Bring the clothes. Yeah, we've got a battle to fight here.
Bring my war clothes.
Yeah, and then they will fight and hold out until the rest of the army gets there.
That's silly.
Now, according to Snorri Sturluson, Godwinson then approaches them incognito, so with his helmet and stuff on, though Tostig recognises him, obviously, in order to parley. So Tostig refuses his brother's offer of being restored to Northumbria and all of his lands in return for not fighting.
Yeah.
And then he says, what would you offer to Harald Hardrada? To which Godwinson replies, he will give King Harold 7 feet of English ground, or as much as he is taller than other men, but no more.
Oh dear. And I mean thus the James Bond baddie line was born.
After Godwinson rides off, Harold asks Tostig, who was that man who spoke so well? And then on learning it was Harold Godwinson, said that he wished he told him earlier so he could have had him killed there and then.
Yeah.
But he then reflected, what a little man that was. But he stood proudly in his stirrups. So, no parley, it will be battle.
And just how much with their pants down at their court? They've got no armour on.
So they do have their weapons.
Yeah.
But they don't have, like their chainmail and their proper armour protection and stuff.
And not most of the army.
About a third of the army isn't there. So they're outnumbered and out-armoured.
It's not going to go well.
Now, Harald Hardrada's initial approach is to hold the footbridge over the river, and then he's got the bulk of his force on the high ground on the other side of the bridge. So obviously, he's just trying to delay the Saxons as long as you possibly can till the reinforcements gets there. Godwinson might already have scouted out the reserve force at Rickle, so he probably knows he's got to break them as quickly as he can before they get their reinforcements. According to later English chroniclers, the bridge is held for a very long time by one large heroic Viking with a mighty axe.
Oh, yes.
Who felled more than 40 Englishmen and alone held up the entire English army until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. When presumably they had to stop for tea and cake and whatnot.
Yeah.
Eventually, someone was able, apparently, to sneak under the bridge and dealt a deathly blow to him.
Oh, from underneath? I've heard this story, I think. Again, it's the opening scene of that battle it's written for you.
So Godwinson's finally able to get across the bridge and take on the bulk of Harold's force. It was also sort of similar to the Battle of Maldon, where they've got the causeway, where you've got a very narrow strip, and it's like you cannot get to the rest of them until you beat these guys, and it's quite hard when there's like basically individual battles.
Yeah.
It's quite hard to actually force that.
It's brilliant.
So Harold's across the bridge, Harold Godwinson is across the bridge, so Hardrada then forms a circular shield wall at the top of the hill, with the archers inside firing out. And we'll see this at Hastings and elsewhere, the shield walls are incredibly hard to break down, so even if you do have a numerical advantage, it's really hard to break into it, and particularly if you're going uphill as well, of course.
Yeah. It screams like the opportunity for some sort of technological leap that will allow, like a tank.
Yeah, that's if you're doing the Age of Empires Red Alert style approach. It's like, I'm just going to put in a cheat code. No, I'm not going to do it too much. I'm just going to tank or something.
One tank.
Yeah,
or
just one flamethrower. That's all I'm asking. So he's got the shield wall, very, very effective. So lots of Saxon charges can't break through. However, some of the Norwegians, perhaps pursuing a feigned retreat, or maybe just trying to get a bit of a dynamic moment and push back when they see an opportunity, launch a counter-attack down the hill.
It's the same song.
Never leave the shield wall.
But we talked about this maybe 20 minutes ago with that other battle.
Fulford.
And then we're going to talk about this. Well, we have talked about this. The following battle at 1066. What is it?
Hastings,
yeah.
So, of course, they are immediately hacked down and they've left the Viking line now vulnerable.
Yeah.
So, seeing this, Harold decides to personally win the Battle of Stamford Bridge. So he now breaks out of the shield wall and charges into the Saxon lines, causing absolute mayhem.
Hang on. Who does?
Harald Hardrada.
Okay.
Possibly going full on like berserker at this point. So this is Harold in full Viking flow.
Is he seeing this as a last throw of the dice?
Yeah, basically he thinks if I can just, through my sheer force of my godlike...
Hans Zimmer, we need more violin.
However, of course, he will not be able to change the course of destiny, and he's struck in the throat by an arrow, falling immediately dead to the ground. Godwinson then seeks to parley with Tostig, so we have another pause, but once more they refuse to surrender, and then they are reinforced by the men from Rickle. They get there. And this leads to even more furious fighting, because obviously they're coming in full adrenaline of that. You get a real boost for those who have held out. They think, yes, the cavalry's here.
With armour. With
armour, yes. Come on, get it on. Oh, it's really... This is why we do this before the battle.
Get your shoes on before we leave the house.
However, obviously, the men that have just arrived are exhausted. I mean, some of them literally just drop down through exhaustion, because they have just legged it with full armour. To get there. The others have been fighting all day, so the Saxons are able to overcome them. Tostig and most of the rest of the army are killed, and the battle is lost.
That's gruesome.
Harold Godwinson offers generous terms to the survivors at the ships, which include Harold's son, so he isn't killed in the battle. Just 25 of the 300 ships are required to return the survivors.
Is that because Harold used them to go south?
No, it's just because everyone's dead.
Okay. But still, he's got a ready supply of ships.
Yeah, it's like, you don't need these. Do you? No? Well, we thought we might space it out a bit. No, come on, you don't need that many, come on.
Yeah.
At least another 5 we could get rid of her. Come on, come on. But yes, that is it. That is the last Viking army that would ever try to conquer England. Sent home. And it's the end of Harald Hardrada.
That's awesome. What a story.
Correspondence Corner.
What a story and what a man. So that was Harald Hardrada. As we said, we'll be doing a review episode next time, but head to our website, rexfactorpodcast.com, to get all of our links, information about the podcast, and get in touch. Tell us what you think about him and the other episodes. And if you'd like to support the podcast, be sure to subscribe on whatever podcast provider you use. And you can donate monthly to join the Privy Council, get ad-free version of the podcast, and over 450 additional bonus episodes at patreon.com/rexfactor.
Bonus episodes on all kinds of stuff. Tea.
Yeah, I mean, we don't provide tea.
No, what do we... We've done biscuits.
A special episode on tea.
Yeah.
No, yes, you can access a special episode on the history of tea. We don't provide tea as part of the Patreon service.
It is recommended serving suggestion, though.
Exactly. And we have some new Privy Councillors to welcome to the fold.
Oh, I do this.
You do this now, yeah?
Welcome, Rachel Matz, Janet Kennedy, Ryan McElwee, Ellie G. of Midgard, Crystal Bond, Charles O'Neill, Vicky Laidlaw, Andrew Hare, Tiani Oliver, Steph Banchester, Julia Muench, Gothica Noctua, which is an incredible name, Leah Wharton, and Elaine McCulloch.
I feel like I was for a moment trying to do a different voice for each one, and then kept bottling it.
So that's all from us today. So next time it will be part 2 for Harald Hardrada, his review episode where we decide whether or not he gets the Rex Factor.
Nice.
See you next time.
Cheerio.